You know that feeling when you boot up a modern AAA game and it feels like a second job? Tutorials, extended cutscenes, day one patches, and somehow you're already tired before you've even played. Now, can you imagine something different? Something smaller, sharper, more fun? What if Sega built a handheld? Not just any handheld, but a modern Dreamcast reborn in your pocket. A device designed for people who remember when games didn't need 80 hours of cutscenes to justify pressing start. Say hello to the DCSX. Let's call it what it is, a visionary concept. Or maybe just the idea that everyone's quietly thinking about. A 5.5-inch 4x3 OLED handheld, vibrant, crisp, built to make Dreamcast-era visuals look like they were always meant to be seen. Powered by a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 class chip with enough headroom to upscale these Sega classics at 3 times resolution without breaking a sweat. 6GB of RAM with a 6000 mAh battery for hours of play. This isn't about chasing the PS5 or Switch. Oh no. This is about owning a completely different lane. One that currently doesn't exist and nobody but Sega can build. This is nostalgia done right, with an eye on the future as well, whilst keeping development costs in check and focusing on their core strengths of A and AA gaming excellence, whilst offering something totally different. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just a console, it's an ecosystem. Online leaderboards, global high scores, instant replay culture, reborn. That old one more try arcade loop, brought back properly with a full community aspect, and, for the first time in years, your initials back on a scoreboard where they belong. The world is your playground again. But Sega doesn't just stop at nostalgia. Oh no, they go further. A built-in development environment. Think of Net Your Rose energy, but modern. Tools, SDK access, tutorials, a pipeline that lets indie devs, hobbyists, and bedroom coders actually build and publish games directly into the ecosystem. A handheld that doesn't just play games, but creates them. And it doesn't end there. Lightweight modern indie titles run natively. Classic Sega catalog, fully integrated. And for the cutting-edge cases, a Proton-style compatibility layer opens the door wider than anyone expects. Suddenly, this isn't just a retro device. It's a pocket-sized Steam Deck alternative with personality, heritage, and imagination as well. Sega isn't short on legacy. They've got one of the most vibrant back catalogs in gaming history. Arcade hits, cult classics, and fan favorites that never really got their due in the modern era. But right now, that IP is scattered, underused, dormant. This device changes that. Nintendo protects their vault like Fort Knox. Sony barely opens theirs at all. Meanwhile, retro handhelds and SBC devices are exploding in popularity. Anbernic, Iron Neo, Steam Deck, all are proving that the demand is real, but none of them own the content. None of them own the identity. Sega does. Let's be real, this wouldn't be cheap. A premium OLED panel, a high-end chipset, a custom ecosystem. You're looking at a device that could land around the £250 mark retail if scaled properly. And yes, initial production would be a serious investment. But the upside? Whew! Sega have already proven that the demand exists. Millions of Mega Drive Minis sold attest to this. Millions more in retro handheld ecosystems. They made 50 billion yen from their mobile gaming division, which is by far the most profitable aspect of their current business model. The audience is already there. The Steam Deck proves this, as 1 out of every 3 titles purchased on it is an indie game. The same goes for the Switch, as 25% of their sales are too. The difference is the former is £700, whilst the latter is £350 with £60 games. The DCSX changes all of this, as I envision a gaming Netflix, but with no chill, as the spirit of competition is resurrected. A bustling online community would bring back the magic of gaming, whilst creating a brand new lane to be filled with talent that otherwise would not be developed. I mean, Sega just lost millions on the Rovio deal, and their games as a service model isn't working. Worst of all, they are releasing critically acclaimed games that are not getting the attention they deserve. The DCSX changes all of that as it provides a center point, a digital watering hole, a way to leverage their vast heritage, skills, and dormant IPs, as well as an eye to developing talent by writing a brand new chapter in the book of gaming. This isn't about hardware margins, it's about platform curation, digital distribution, indie revenue, back catalog monetization, limited time exclusives for the handheld launch windows on the DCSX, and then 6 months later, they're available everywhere else. A curated Netflix of Sega approach, except people actually want to play what's inside. The community aspect is a big thing as I envision. Think Miiverse reincarnated. You can link up with friends, rivals, or just watch what another is streaming as you relax and unwind, making games fun again. A self-contained amusement ecosystem that you can hold in your hands from home on the couch to out and about as well. An instant-on system with game switching, curated recommendations, and online tournament battles to see who is the best at pushing the pixels. At its core, this isn't about specs. It's about identity. Games that feel immediate again. No friction, no bloat, no corporate exhaustion layered on top of fun. Just pick up, play, compete, create. I envision that Sega take their immense back catalogue of Dreamcast titles, upscale them perfectly to 3x, and then push them through the 5.5-inch OLED in your grip with the modern quality of life improvements that we've come to expect. Add in online and local multiplayer as well, along with access to their arcade classics with worldwide leaderboards. But that's just the start. The main drive for this is the supportive element with an SDK for bedroom coders to showcase their talents. Combine this with what I've mentioned and you'll see why nobody else but Sega can do this, as they have all of the pieces, but at present, not in the optimal arrangement. That is where I come in. I actually came up with this concept last month and was preparing the pitch when I heard the news about the new device that is rumored to be being created. Now, to me it sounds like it's going to be more of a Evercade Hyperkin style of portable, but my vision is far grander in scale. It's also more expensive, with the custom OLED panel taking up a large chunk of the estimated 40 million it will take to create all that I have envisioned, with an initial production run of 1 million handhelds. Now, this may sound like a lot, but it really isn't, as I've considered all of the angles and variables, and it just makes perfect sense. Obviously, a lot of the details are beyond this video, but I'll share a few of my thoughts on why this prints money. You cannot buy Dreamcast titles anywhere legally. The average price of a modded Dreamcast is around £200. The closest competitor is a PS Portal, which sells for the same but has none of the cachet and cannot truly play its own games. This is less than the price of a Switch, with games coming in at a far more pocket-pleasing and novelty-generating range. Also, it could be used to salvage the 100 million that Sega lost on developing Hyenas, as the specification is powerful enough to run it, and its theme of VHS space pirates is aimed squarely at the millennial generation who are fascinated with back when. Now, they get to create their own future nostalgia memories and see what made gaming so special. Not to mention releasing translations of countless Japanese hidden gems that currently languish on the shelf, plus resurrecting old IPs. I mean, can you imagine launching this with a double pack of Sega Gaga in English and a sequel that charts the development of the DCSX? Grand closing, grand opening. There is more, way more that I have considered, and this is just a hint of my vision for the platform and the future of gaming itself. What do you think, my friend? In the quest for pushing pixels and ray tracing, a lot has been gained, but the expense is immense, and if we're being honest, the core mechanics themselves are just not as fun, as there is very little in terms of innovation and experimentation, because developers simply cannot afford to take the risk. DCSX changes all of this with its eye-catching design, great ergonomics, amazing battery life, and a community that is as vibrant as the OLED panel itself. We aren't offering something generic, but a device for gamers, by gamers, an ARM architecture with hybrid presentation both in terms of context and content. Maybe Sega doesn't need to become the next Sony or Nintendo. Maybe it just needs to become Sega again. And if they ever did build this, yeah, people wouldn't just watch it. They'd line up for it because they'd know Sega does what the rest won't. Innovate. Till we meet again.